Welcome to Tech Insides, a channel where we break down how technology actually works and what's really behind the technical decisions we encounter every day. Our main sponsor for this channel is CometVPN. Today we're talking about why websites like SpankBang have started requiring age verification, and why, for many users, this process doesn't work the way they expect. At first glance, it looks like a simple "confirm you're over 18" pop-up. In reality, it's a technical and legal mechanism that's actively changing how internet access works across different countries. This matters not just because content becomes inaccessible. It matters because these checks often involve IP address analysis, region detection, and sometimes even data collection that users are not clearly informed about. In other words, this isn't just about content, it's about control and privacy. So here's the question for you as a viewer. Do you think it's normal for websites to decide what you're allowed to see based on your location and technical data, rather than your actual age? To understand what's really happening, we need to clearly separate two things: age verification and geographic control. Most people assume a website simply asks, "Are you 18?" Technologically, that's almost never how it works. The first step is the IP address. The moment you open a website, the server immediately sees your IP and determines your country, sometimes even your region. No consent is required. If your IP indicates that you're in a country with strict age verification laws, the site often doesn't even attempt to verify your actual age. It simply activates a block or redirects you to a verification page. The second layer is legal logic. In countries like the UK, France, or certain US states, laws don't allow self-declared age confirmation. They require a method that could theoretically prove your identity. That's why you see demands for ID uploads, third-party verification services, or even bank-based confirmation. Technically, this means additional servers, third parties, and new data flows. The third factor is platform self-protection. Platforms like SpankBang often choose the simplest path. If an IP comes from a high-risk jurisdiction, access is restricted for everyone, regardless of age. It's cheaper, simpler, and legally safer, but it completely ignores the individual user. Here's the key point. This is almost never about real age verification. It's about location detection and shifting legal responsibility to automated systems. The system doesn't check how old you are. It checks where you're connecting from. And that's where the real privacy and usability issues begin. This is where the biggest gap appears between how things are presented publicly and how they actually work. The official narrative is protecting minors. The technical result is mass IP-based blocking with minimal interest in who the user really is. The first myth is that age verification makes the internet safer. In practice, it solves very little. Minors adapt technologically faster than regulations do, while adult users are left with extra barriers, privacy risks, and sometimes absurd verification procedures. The system penalizes the wrong people. The second myth is that data won't be stored. In reality, once third parties, document checks, or financial verification are involved, additional data centers, logs, and liability zones are created. Even if the website claims it stores nothing, the verification mechanism itself already means data movement. And wherever data moves, risk exists. The third rarely discussed issue is selectivity. The same types of content are blocked in some countries and freely accessible in others. That tells us this isn't about morality or safety. It's about legal exposure and fines. Platforms aren't solving a problem, they're protecting themselves. And finally, the marketing layer. All of this is often framed as a modern solution, a responsible approach, or regulatory compliance. Technically, it's a blunt filter that doesn't see a person, only an IP address. No context, no nuance, no real solution. This is why it's critical to separate intention from implementation. The intention may sound reasonable. The implementation often causes more privacy harm than it prevents. From a practical perspective, the first thing to understand is what you actually control and what you don't. You don't control laws in other countries, and you don't control how platforms interpret regulations. But you do control what technical information they see about you. Because this entire system relies on IP addresses and geolocation, the real issue is where you appear to be connecting from. If your IP points to a problematic jurisdiction, the system doesn't negotiate, it blocks. That means any real solution has to change that signal, not try to fight the verification process with documents or third-party services. The second key issue is privacy. If a website asks you to upload ID, use facial recognition, or complete bank verification, it's worth assessing. And finally, thanks for watching. If this breakdown helped you better understand how these restrictions work on a technical level, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It helps this kind of content reach people who want to understand technology, not just use it. You are watching Tech Insights. See you next time.